Hi, Shalini. Sorry. Good afternoon. How are you?
Very good afternoon. I'm good, good. Hi, Aprajita.
Yeah. So you are in the office or you are at home?
No, I quickly drove to home so that I can peacefully take this call.
Okay. But otherwise, the office is started working, is it?
Yeah, but it's still optional. So whenever we have meetings or some regular work, we are there. Otherwise, we are working from home.
Oh, you're working from home. Okay. So it's almost a year now. You have started working from home.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Now it is getting irritated. It's
Yeah, I
irritating.
know.
Yeah,
Meetings are better, but the classes are really awful.
I know.
It's really
Online classes, yes.
online classes. There is no life in the classes. So shall we start?
Aprajita, you are muted.
Okay, so we are starting, sir. Okay,
Okay.
so I will greet and then I will request it. Okay, so greetings, my dear students and colleagues and friends, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure for us to carry forward this initiative. It just cropped up in my mind a few days back, and I spoke to Professor James if we can arrange a series of placement talks and discussions, requesting our alumni members to share their experiences. So he readily agreed, and I'm quite fortunate that he said, please go ahead. And he trusted on us. So immediately that I must say that it is an opportunity for a junior colleague to get positive energy from a senior person once he feels that you are trustworthy. So thank you, Professor James, for this. And my dear students, we are working hard. We are trying our level best to improve the visibility of IIPS and enhance the strength of the placement cell, because I personally believe that without strengthening placement cell, institute may not shine very bright. So IIPS is shining brightly, but I think we will do much more in aspects of skill development and giving guidance to our students with respect to their future job prospects. So we are academicians, but there are a number of other fields where our alumni are pretty much involved, whether it is governance or in different industries, in different domains. So we would like to hear their experiences, their professional success, to enrich ourselves, and it perhaps directly and indirectly will help our students develop their goals and develop their skills. So today we have our beloved alumni Shalini Verma. She's 2 years senior to me, and I have the opportunity to share the same floor of the new hostel for a couple of years with Shalini. So welcome, Shalini, in this first initiative. To give a brief introduction about Dr. Shalini Verma, she is currently the Senior National Program Manager, Monitoring and Evaluation, UNDP. She joined UNDP in the year 2014. And currently she's involved with the project, with a project which helps strengthening the universal immunization program of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. She has almost 20 years of work experience, and she's basically a product of VHU, MSc Statistics, and then she pursued MPS and PhD from IIPS. So she will talk about her professional things, but as a personal To give a personal touch, I know Shalini, she's a wonderful human being, quite intelligent, strong, at the same time quite soft-spoken. And she believes that women need a seat at the table through her intellect and whatever capabilities she is having. So welcome Shalini once again. And we hope with the active engagement of the students, we will be able to continue this placement talks. So may I request Professor James to share a few words and welcome Shalini. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, and good evening to all, and particularly to Shalini and as well as to Professor Abhirajita. No, first of all, it's organizing this event. I think that has been a wonderful initiative from the placement cell. I congratulate them for this good initiative. I'm sure such kind of programs will continue in future as well. Overall, as Shalini also, I'm thinking there are two objectives for these kinds of an interaction. First and foremost, what is Professor Abhirajita has mentioned, we need to really strengthen our placement cell. That is definitely one of the important aim for the institute now holding, because many students are also of the opinion that the placement cell of the IIPS is relatively weak compared to many other institutions in this country. So we never bothered perhaps in the past because we got very limited number of students and all of them were really getting jobs sooner or faster. So it was really not thought about as an important element of the IIPS earlier. But with the student strength increasing and also with different courses initiated, perhaps we need to also look seriously on that. That definitely is the most important aspect of this today's talk, I think, which will be continued later as well. So the second, obviously, is, there are also complaints from the students that the alumni, the current students' interactions or the institute interaction is relatively also limited within the institute, because we never had a very strong alumni, although there has been some sporadic type of initiatives on that, but this was never been considered so important in the institute, because many of them passed through the Bombay and had a very intense interaction with a limited number of faculties, and it goes on like that, but it was not a formalized in a very strict sense. So our alumni association is currently working to strengthen that. We also planning to have a larger alumni meet in the middle of this year, really to make everyone to the fold of alumni, as well as to strengthen that interaction with the current students and alumni, which I'm sure will help the current students even to fetch more better jobs, as well as to understand really what are the areas in which our alumni really work and operate. So this is sort of our objectives of starting these initiatives. Let me compliment once again the placement cell, and also particularly thank Dr. Shalini to agree to our invitation. I know this is not an easy time for you to get some time out of your busy schedule because of the portfolios you really undertake in the UNDP as well as your other engagement. Thank you so much for agreeing. And I'm sure the students and other members who are joined will have a very interactive sessions, which we look forward to your wonderful lecture. Thank you, and good luck to all of you once again.
Thank you, Dr. James, for such kind words. And thanks to Aprajita for calling me in. I'm super excited to get back to the students, and I can relive all the memories of how we had such a wonderful student life in IIPS. So I'm very, very happy to be on this platform. Aprajita, with your permission, should I start?
Yes, over to you.
Yes.
Make a discussion very lively, so it is just your family, so you handle the thing. Once you are done with that, then we will take a few questions. So I'm managing that. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor James.
Oh, hello, students. I'm so excited to get connected with you. And Dr. James said I have a big profile to handle, and it's difficult for me to get out time. But then when Aprajita asks you, you can't say no. So you have seen her as a teacher. Even with us, she's as strong as with you. So yes, when she says you have to come, we have to come here. I'm so excited here again, once again. Aprajita asked me to quickly share my journey so far, and and then we can talk about what I can offer you all. So before starting, a very, very humble request. Let's keep interrupting me in between. I don't want one-way talk. Ask as many questions as you can. And if you ask question, it will be assurance to me that you are listening. Okay? So please keep interrupting me, keep asking me. There is no hard and fast rule. This is not a lecture. This is just an interaction. So I'll share a quick presentation, not just to give a direction to my talk. Let me quickly share that. Yeah. Can you see this? Is my presentation visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
But there is a box coming. I'm contacting the ICT. Just give me 2 minutes.
Okay.
Obstruction is not problem.
Okay. So till then, I'll just start. A formal hello to all of you. And then, as Prajita said, she said I should share with you my professional journey. So I had a statistics background from Banaras Hindu University. I joined MPS course long back. Can you see that? Almost 25 years before. And still now, my biggest achievement of life is to get a gold medal at IIPS. I think nothing gave me happiness in life as that gold medal has given me. You may find it like, I think that is the most important thing in my life. So finishing my MPS and joining under the guidance of Professor KB Pathak, the book of Pathak and Ram, which you all refer as a very regular textbook. I have been lucky to work with Dr. Pathak. He has been a guide, a mentor, a father figure to me. So after my PhD was awarded in 2001, I started my professional life and worked with a variety of organizations. Some of them are international NGOs, some are National Institute, the Population Foundation of India is an Indian NGO, and now I'm working with United Nations. So a variety of exposure, and I have been lucky to get this exposure of sometimes being on the donor side, sometimes being on the executor side. When I work with TNS Global, my work was to write proposal and execute research studies. When I worked with POP Council, I was evaluating many other organizations. When I worked with IPPF, I supported a lot of international organizations in doing their evaluation, their monitoring. So this journey has really taught me a lot, not in terms of technical rigor, but also in terms of the work, the subject matter. So I started my work with NIHFW, working on HIV/AIDS, then moved to Population Council, working on safe abortion issues, then IPPF, again safe abortion issues, IntraHealth International on the larger reproductive health arena, and now with United Nations working on the immunization program. Overall, in the field of health, hardly moved out of health and development, and but did a lot of monitoring studies, evaluations, and programs. When I say if this kind of varied exposure was very helpful for me to keep me engaged, keep me enthusiastic about my work, and keep me learning a lot of new things. Now I'm feeling a little bored at UNDP, 7 years working on immunization. Now I'm craving for some more learning. So maybe I can share with you a good news maybe whenever we connect next time. So before going ahead with my suggestions for you, if any of you want to have any question about the kind of experiences we have at these organizations, you might have heard some of these. Does any of you want to ask about any experience? Okay.
Yeah, Shalini, it is, you were thinking it is like a classroom lecture, but very difficult to handle this kind of question answer things in between. So
Okay.
I can request my students, if you are having questions about whatever she said already, if you have any specific question, you can put it in the chat box. Then later on, I will request you to unmute yourself and then directly interact once her presentation is over. Otherwise, any pointed question, you can put it in the chat box right now.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds good. Sounds good. So my suggestion is, like, whenever you get opportunity to work, if you have the hunger to learn, if you have the hunger to keep on updating yourself, it's always a good idea to to work in different fields, to work in different arenas. So generally the idea is for you also. So what kind of portfolio you can handle. So you can either become a technical specialist or you can become a subject matter specialist. So, like, I am a technical specialist who works on the field of monitoring, evaluation, and research. And I work on a variety of subjects, starting maybe within health, but starting on abortion, HIV/AIDS, family planning, immunization. And within these subjects, I'm applying the similar kind of skills of monitoring and evaluation. For you, many of you, when you come out of the institute and start looking for the job, so make up your mind. You want to become a M&E person. You want to get your hands into the program implementation side. You want to do a more of a reporting, the knowledge management, documenting, preparing research papers. You want to get into advocacy and communication, or you want to get into the teaching or the research. So it will be helpful for you to decide, at least start narrowing down. So if you want to become a technical specialist, what kind of specifications you want to see yourself, say 5 years down the line. Don't aim for the lifelong thing, but 5 years down the line, you want to be known as a M&E specialist. You want to be known as a research person. You want to be known as a good teacher. So where you see yourself 5 years down the line. And it is not the case that if you choose any of these technical specification, you don't have to stick to it for the entire life. You always get opportunity to broaden your field of work. You always get opportunity to get to the next kind of learning. That is one way of handling your career. The other way is to become a subject matter specialist. So you get into the health and you work on the program implementation, knowledge management, write advocacy papers. You get into maybe a geographical area wise work. So choose to work on the rural areas only, or only for the adolescent people, or for the tribal. So you can think of what attracts you the best, what kind of work you would like to do more. Or you maybe choose to do a more cross-cutting work. Nowadays it's a arena of cross-cutting work. So the words of system strengthening, digital innovation, working on gender equity, rights, these are the stuff which cuts across health, across education, across environment, across rural, urban, adolescent. And there are many more. I am talking only from my own exposure, what I have seen so far in my life. But there are many more areas of work which you will explore. So you have to choose. You want to become a subject matter specialist, or you want to be and work across technical specification, or you want to become a technical specialist and work across the subjects. So start making those choices. Ultimately, what kind of job you get in your hand will guide you in future. But at least you have to start choosing. Like, so if you get two jobs, which one you will go for? On what basis? You want to become a technical specialist, or you want to become a subject specialist? So you have to make those choices soon in your life, when you will start applying for the jobs, when you start choosing between jobs, between money, between exposure, between stability. So these are the issues you have to keep in your mind. Where do you see yourself 5 years down the line? For example, I am a monitoring and evaluation specialist. I do work across all these subject matters, what we have discussed here. And I'm happy applying my skills and getting into a project, working on a project from beginning to end, completing it, then moving on to the next job. So that's how I have worked in 7 projects so far, and a very fulfilling, very satisfying experience. In last few years, I should say, earlier, the way the monitoring and evaluation works has changed quite a lot in the last couple of years. Earlier, we used to do a lot more scientific, more rigorous monitoring and evaluation work, but now it's more digital. So it's very quick, it's very hands-on, the results are very easily available, but it has some cons as well. So by the time you will join the workforce, you will see, you have to see what kind of requirements are there. Is it the system strengthening which is more in demand? You might get more jobs in that field. So the digital innovation, system strengthening, that is the buzzword as of now. Apart from this is the kind of areas where you can work. The next thing, what kind of affiliation where you can work. So you might choose to work in international or Indian NGOs. You might work as consultant in the government programs at ministries or the various departments. Nowadays, the corporate social responsibility programs are expanding very widely. So CSRs are having a good offering. The pharma industries, the CSR, a lot of labor organizations, they are offering good positions for the IIPS students. So keep an eye on that. And definitely the research and the teaching institutions are always open. IIPS is a cult and which is always preferred by many of the latest industries. So be assured when you'll get out, you will be taken very comfortably consumed by any of these organizations. So when I talk about international and Indian NGOs where I'm working at the moment, we are struggling currently because the donor scenario is changing quite a lot. USAID, UK AIDS, Australian AIDS, they are moving away from India, focusing more on Africa. They're also moving away because the government of India is less willing to take foreign funding. So when you make a decision about where you work, you also have to make a decision which country you want to work in. You want to work in India, you want to go and work in some other developing countries. So that kind of options will also be available. Government programs are getting strengthened day by day. A lot of consultancy positions at ministry, at Department of Health, Department of Urban Work, Department of Education is available. So you can keep an eye on that as well. As I said, CSRs and the research institution is the regular phenomena. So that's where you can get connected and you can try for the job. While looking for a job, where to look for? So you all know DevNet, LinkedIn, DevX, these are the usual sites, and there are many more sites available for you to look for the job. But I suggest that if you have a strong willingness to join at a particular organization, so for example, if you want to join UN, if you want to join WHO, if you want to join UNICEF, so look for the organization specific site and every week at least visit them once. So maybe Sunday morning, 1 hour, looking at scrolling through all the organizational specific site and see what new has come up. So I have just listed a few, but you can find many more. But for the young students like you, my suggestion is to look for the opportunity for the internship and volunteerism. Because we feel why intern, why volunteer? Nowadays, internships are paid internship, and a lot of voluntary organizations give very good jump once you volunteer with them. IPPF, UN volunteers, WHO volunteers, they get wonderful promotions, they are being picked up very well by the organizations itself. So while you are looking for the job, keep looking for the internship, keep volunteering for these big names, because that's where you can very easily get soaked into the organization. So that's my 2-bit to you. Now, I'm ready to take questions. I'm ready to learn from you. I'm ready to respond to you.
Hello, ma'am.
So, could you please tell me your name and, if possible, switch on the video if you are not having connectivity problem, and then ask one by one. You put me in the chat box, so it would be easier for me to manage. So go ahead. Who is talking?
Ma'am, this is Devi Krishna.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Shalini, about your experience at UNDP, since it's the organization that everyone from the social background would aspire to be part of. How
Devi,
reach UNDP experience?
Okay. So Devi, if you want to get into UN, UN is not a place for freshers. They generally look for certain level of experience, and because UN is very much in demand, so they generally minimum 2 to 5 years of experience is required. The way of getting into UN is always through the very right way. Look into unjobs.org and keep applying. But the easiest way to get into UN is to become a UN volunteer. UN volunteers, I have shared the website in my presentation. If you become a UN volunteer, they pick you directly from there. Even freshers are there. And once you become a UN volunteer, getting in the indoor of UN becomes very, very easy. So as I said, if you become IPPF volunteers, if you become UN volunteers, they pay you well. Although they are called volunteers, they pay you really well, and the entry into the organization becomes very easy. How I got into UNDP? UNDP has advertised for a program where I'm currently working. It's called Health System Strengthening for the Immunization Program. When they have advertised for the position for the monitoring and evaluation way back in 2013, I've applied for it and I've qualified the written test and interview and everything, and that's where I am. So this program was initially for the 3 states only, but the program went really well. And I can proudly say that currently the program has covered entire India, all 36 states, and all 732 districts of India. So we have a team working there, and we provide immunization support. Even the COVID vaccine is being distributed through our channel. So that's a big success for the UNDP. I have seen 2 questions in the chat box. Can I take them?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So Nawaz, you wanted to know about the advocacy and communication. For the advocacy and communication.
Who is this?
So.
Okay, fine. Go ahead, Shalini.
Yeah. So for the advocacy and communication, if you have a good writing skills, if you have a command and analytical skills, I'm not talking about the data. I'm talking about the content, communication content. If you can quickly analyze that and create a quick gist, it's a generation of tweet, it's a generation of Facebook post, it's a generation of Instagram stories. So we even within UN, half of the communication people are working on these only. So every day, at least one tweet, one Facebook story, one Instagram story. A lot of new social media platforms are being used by the communication people. This is absolutely I feel really old. In my 20 years of life, 15, 16 years, I've seen communication means write-ups, publications, reports. But now communication means quick social media, grabbing the attention of people because people have such short-lived memory. So it's important to keep on informing how good we are doing. So communication for the young generation, you people are very smart with social media. Keep it as a weapon, use it. And if you can grab well from a 30-page report, if you can create 2-3 good tweets, if you can create a quick story, one interesting picture and a nice tagline, that's what is a communication largely at the moment. Apart from that policy advocacy communication, this communication is very much in demand. And I have seen people grabbing this, especially the young generation. Somewhere we are now old. Our ways of working are still very methodical, very scientific. So we have to keep pace with you. So for you, it's very easy to get into this kind of social media communication. Is that okay, Nawaz?
Ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So could you please just tell me what are the organizations who hire for these positions?
Every organization. So let me suggest you, Nawaz, are you on Instagram, Twitter,
yes,
and Facebook?
Yes, ma'am.
Make friend, follow UNDP, follow WHO, follow Population Foundation of India, follow IPPF. All of them does this kind of tweet. Just follow the kind of trend they have. Just follow how they work around their content. So every day, 1 or 2 tweet, 1 or 2 Facebook. So just keep following them. Apart from your friends, use this as a weapon to LinkedIn. These are the places where and you will find most of the organization now. It's a very quick, very easy way to work around communication. And this is the future I can see. I write a lot of reports. Nobody reads them, yaar. So everybody wants to see the quick gist of it. So, and aap log to, yaar, you are today's generation. You are born with the social media in your mobile. So just grab on it and work around it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Pooja asked about the CSR options available for freshers. Yes, Pooja. With the stamp of IIPS, you are an expert. You are not a fresher. IIPS is still a name. when I used to work in various organizations, whenever I say I'm from IFPS, oh, from that they call it mafia, IIPS mafia. They said ki all the good positions are being captured by IIPS people. So IIPS people are never a fresher because you are doing a professional course. You are not studying any theoretical MA, MSc. You are not doing any, you are doing a thorough professional course and you are very well connected by others in the field. So even if you are fresher, you can quickly get ideas from your seniors, from your alumni. We are all there to support. So, and CSRs is about giving less money for the freshers, but they do take. So it's never a bad idea to start with the CSRs. Any other question? Okay, so as nobody is asking, let me also suggest you something. Going ahead, once you will start your professional career, you will get so busy in earning money that your scientific rigor will be slightly, if you are not joining a teaching and research job, if you are getting into an NGO or the government sector or the CSR, you will be very, very busy in the regular project work. So if in IIPS you have done any research papers, if in IIPS you have done some good writing, please try to publish it while you are there. This kind of support, this kind of, because your teachers will help you to tweak your papers, your teachers will help you to make it more strengthened. So, because I at times really regret, I hardly get time to publish the work. Once I left IIPS, I have hardly published anything. So if you have any paper, your term paper, your project, your thesis, whatever, please try to publish it while you're there. You are in the best hands at the moment. Once you come out, everybody will be your competitor. This is a place where you will get mentors. Outside the world, you will only get competitors. So please publish your work. So there is one more question from Shakat Roy. How to make the initial switch from the academic field to the professional field? Most of the companies look for the experienced people. Shakat, you are into a professional journey, and from this professional journey, you can switch wherever you want to. Definitely, we feel that freshers are not easy to, it's not easy to get jobs. But when you come to my age, nearing your 50s, it's not easy to get job then also. So jobs तो हमेशा issues रहेंगी, चाहे जब आप young हैं or when you are old. Freshers are easily available at a starting salary scales. So at times I feel if I would have been fresher, I would have 10 jobs in my hand. Now nobody is giving me job yet. Everybody feels that they have to pay me heavily. So never feel that way. Whatever we have, we feel bad about it. We feel that we are freshers, so we are not getting job. I feel I'm older, so I'm not getting job. So get over this notion. Just keep looking for it. As I said, every Sunday morning or every once a day, once in a week, look into all the companies where you are aiming to work with. Look for their portfolio, look for their job profile, look for their tweets, and you will get a way out. This is a world of open communication, and it's very easy for you to get in touch with the organization where you want to work with. Offer your volunteer services, offer your internship, and slowly get there. Because once you go and work there, it will be very easy for you to get absorbed. Priyanka is asking, she wants to work on urban development, where I need to approach. Can't say, Priyanka, I'm not into the geographical this kind of portfolio, but I'm sure start looking for the organizations which work in this area, and then look for their websites, see what is their latest work, and see every website offers you the way to connect, the way to approach them. That's how one can be there. I don't have any hands-on information about the urban development work. Sorry. So Soham is asking, The processes are more software and programming oriented. So this is what scope they open up and which scopes are getting harder to get with the onset of technology. See, yes, it's a world of software and programming, but once the software is done, programming is done, it is meant for something, na? So for example, I work for the immunization program. I work on a software called Electronic Vaccine Intelligence Network. In short, it's called EVIN. The work of EVIN is to digitize all the CHC, PHC sub-centers wherever Government of India stores vaccine. And we digitize the stock of all these vaccines. So currently sitting at my home here, I can click any of the CHC, PHCs and I can see how much vaccine stock do they have, at what temperature these vaccines are saved, what is their expiry date, are these vaccines in sufficient quantity. So all this information is available through this application. But who works on this? Once the application is developed, this has to be taught to the people in the government sector. So we need program implementers. Once they are working, they need a monitoring person like me to monitor the entire country. So they need a M&E person. Then I have a communication support people who write about these experiences. So although a software is a center of every new program, but this center has to be supported by all other dimensions. The M&E dimension, the program implementation dimension, the communication people. So those requirements have not dimmed out. It just, the focus of, instead of manual work, has been replaced with the digital work. So scope of work has not changed. It's just the manual work is being replaced by the software work. So your jobs are all there. So don't worry about that. It's not hard to get job. Computer will not do the monitoring. Computer will not write the tweets. Computer will not do the advocacy paper. That has to be done manually. Thank God. Okay.
A few more questions. Shalini, you are giving wonderful inputs. And that's why I always say that we must listen to those who are working in the ground level. We are academicians, at least the faculty members are too, this structured way of teaching and writing papers is one way. But the way you people are working is really a need to be understood by every one of us. You people will be giving jobs. So I think students must be asking questions which are very pertinent in search of job, in skill enhancement related issues. Whatever questions you are having right now, you please put it in the chat box. And she's very humble and she will reply each of your questions. As she has said that if you are aiming to work in a good organizations, keep track of their web pages and try to connect in whichever way you can, and then get engaged into volunteering. That I usually give a look of the UN job portfolios, and I can see a number of options for the volunteers across the globe.
Yes. And they are paid volunteers. They are not free volunteers. Volunteerism and internships are no more free. It's just a feeling that if I'm interning, I'm not getting paid. It's not true. Interns are being paid heavily, and if you perform well, you are very easily soaked up in the organization.
Even Shalini, I have seen all good institutes in India, students do interns. Even after passing out, they get engaged. Yes. They do 3-4 interns in different organizations, and they're all reputed organizations. So it helps them to get a good job. So, okay, any questions? Any question?
Yeah, there is a question from Kinkal. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like we go for any yes ma'am, like we go for any volunteer, ma'am, we continue with our course, like there is some restriction or anything?
No, you have to continue with your course. You can only do it during your summer vacations, or you can only do it after completing your master's, or whatever you are doing.
Okay ma'am.
Okay. Some Kinkar has written that the person is doing a PhD in population studies. Where I need to approach for job? You have to see where you want to approach, what kind of work you want to do. As I presented to you, that you can either become a technical specialist, or you can become a subject specialist, or just wait for your first job to give you that move, what kind of specialist you'll become. So for the job, you can, as I again presented, that you can apply to NGOs, you can apply to government consultancies, you can apply for the CSR portfolio. These are the key places where you get jobs. There is not one place where you can apply. You have to keep looking for it. And there are plenty of job for freshers. Plenty of job. Don't worry. You have the stamp of IAPS. You are no less. You are not freshers. You are professional people.
शायद किसी का सवाल है?
So even if they have question later, they can email me. I am on LinkedIn. I have shared my LinkedIn ID. You can connect me there also. There is a question from Shreyas. With statistics as a subject for graduation and for masters, do you feel any advantage over the students from other background like geography, economics, etc.? Which is the best organization where one can apply with MA, MSc population studies? Okay. So if you have statistics as your background subject, nobody can fool you with all those numbers and your sampling and those ratios, because people use those odds ratio and the sampling and the random sampling. They fake so much around it, and you can always laugh at that, and you can concretely respond to them that random sampling never exists. You can always tell that odds ratio is not the best way to look at any kind of response. So you understand these words to the core. So that's where is your strength. And but yeah, the students of geography, economics, etc., they have their strength in a different way. We can't fool them in their arena, and they can't fool you in the field of statistics. So the best way is to work together. So if you have a statistician in your office, and if you have a social science expert, if they work together, that's the best combination. Second thing is, what is the best organization where one can apply with MA, MSc population study? Yeah, it's up to you what you want to work on. With the statistics, I work with NGOs, I work with the government consultancies. Everywhere the statistics is required, at least for wherever they are doing data analysis, wherever they are doing sampling, wherever they are doing program planning, it is required. It's a very, very required portfolio. Don't just get disheartened. Keep scrolling, keep looking for the websites. It's a digital arena. You will get a good job. Don't worry about that. Aprajita, I always remember the experience of IAPS. In our class, there were a few statistics students, there were a few geography students, there were a few psychology students as well, sociology students. And that's where the exposure of IAPS was tremendous. So when I was doing my MSc, I was just a hardcore student. But when I came to IAPS gave me that analytical skill, that one problem can be seen by different specialists in such different ways. And that's what IAPS provides you, that platform. So the students might feel that they are just beginners, but they are at IAPS. They should not look down at themselves. They are not regular master students. They are doing a professional degree, and it is very much in demand outside. So
yeah. Shalini, I personally believe that it's very difficult to say in your professional career that I am statistician or I am X. When you are doing a job, you need to understand everything holistically. You might be a good statistician, you can analyze the data, but what is the interpretation and what is the later on implications of that? For that, you need to have a lot of understanding of other subjects.
And that understanding IAPS gave me. When I used to chat with Emily Das, she told me, Shalini, sociologically, this is not correct. This kind of sample you are drawing, this is wrong. And then we have Sucheta, who said ki, this has a psychological impact, Shalini. If you go to a household and only select younger women, the other might feel bad. So that kind of discussion has given such rich exposure. and which I realize now. When we were there, we have always undermined ourselves. But now, when we look back, the kind of learning IIPS has given us was tremendous, tremendous learning. And the student should feel, make the best use of this time. And do publish your papers before leaving IIPS. Your term papers, they are really, really valuable.
Are there any more questions that has come to you in chat box?
No, nothing.
Okay,
nothing.
okay. I think Shalini, it's a wonderful time talking to you, seeing you after a long time, and then you give a lot of inputs to our students. With that, I officially thank you, but I will ask Devi Krishna to give the vote of thanks.
Okay.
Okay, Devi Krishna, are you here? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Dr. Shalini, Professor Aparajita, dear friends. On behalf of the International Institute of Population Sciences and the Placement Cell, I'd like to take this opportunity to extend our gratitude to Dr. Shalini Verma for taking some time out of her busy schedule and delivering an amazing and entertaining session, if I can use the term. So the session was undoubtedly has covered all major aspects on securing a career, starting from the where to search for jobs, identifying the right opportunity that matches your caliber and your interest, how to approach those opportunities, etc. And I'm pretty sure that this session has helped us to gain more confidence and will enable us to enter the job market with more insights. And I must use this opportunity to say that we, the students of IIPS, are privileged to be a part of this institute, which has produced eminent personalities like you who occupy the prestigious positions in demography and related fields. So we are looking forward for more opportunities to interact with you and to gain more knowledge from you. Once again, I'd like to thank you, and I hope you have a great time ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor James. Thank you, Aparajita. And thank you all the students. I had a good time, and never undermine yourself. You are a IIPSian. Just believe you are the people who will lead the development sector of India. So don't feel you are a fresher. Keep your ears and eyes open. Keep looking at the website and keep applying for positions. You will get a very good position before you leave the organization. All the very, very best.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Shalini, and everybody. Okay. And be with us. Be with us. We will continue this kind of talks if students are with me. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Shalini.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye.